Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at how we're going to create a parallax scrolling effect, and it looks something like this. As you see, as I scroll down, it releases the background image and I can scroll past it and I have one more parallax effect. I think this is a really cool effect. That's why I want to share this tutorial with you guys today. Don't forget guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and also turn on your notification bell so that you do receive notifications when we do drop new videos. With that being said, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is obviously create a folder so that you can save your work in. I've already done that. The next thing you want to do is right click and then say new file. We're going to call this file index.html because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be HTML code. And then what we can say here is if you're using Visual Code, you can just say HTML, and we have a boilerplate HTML5. We'll click enter and you see it does everything for us. In our title we can just say creating a parallax. Cool. So the next thing we want to do is obviously create our different sections, and for this video and this tutorial we're going to have 5 sections, 2 different parallaxes. So let's get started. So what I want to do first is I want to go in the body. Just want to give myself some space. Then I'm just going to say div class, and I'm going to call this section, and I'm just going to say container fluid. I'll close that off, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to copy this here just to make this quicker. I'm going to paste that 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and that should be 5. So I'm going to change this to 2. I'm going to do the same to this, change that to 3. We're going to change this to 4, and we're going to change this to 5. So I want this one to be the parallax, so let's just make a quick comment. So I'll say parallax, and I want the 4th one to be a parallax as well. Okay, so for now this is all we're going to do in our HTML. You can obviously do create text or whatever but for this tutorial I think that's just fine. The next thing we're going to need is a CSS script. So let's do that. Let's right click, let's say new file, and we're going to call this style.css. Then we need to link this up to our HTML script. So what we're going to do is we'll go in our head and we'll just below title we'll leave some space and we'll say link href, and we're going to say style.css because that's our script, and we're going to say rel, and that's style sheet. We're going to close that off. Okay, so now everything should be linked. Let's head over to our styles script. For this tutorial you need about 3 images. So I already have my images. You can just get some off the internet or something that you've created and you can just add it into the project. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder and we're going to call this folder images. We're going to drag our images into that folder. There you see it. I just have 4, but I'm probably only going to use 3. So back to our CSS script. What we're going to do for the first section, we're just going to say dot. Now because we want to access a class, we'll use dot. If we was accessing an ID, then we'll use the hash or the pound sign. So what we're going to say is our class is called section1. We'll open and close the brackets. Then we're going to set its height, and we'll set this to 100 VH for now. We'll do the same with the width, and we'll set the width to 100% because we want it to cover the entire screen. Next we want to set a background image, so I'll just say background, go all the way down to image, and I'll say URL. Okay, and because my images are in this folder and my CSS script is obviously out of that folder, what I'm going to do is I need to say dot so it knows to go 1 folder up, and then I need to go into my images folder, and my first image is 1.png. So what I'll do next is I'll just say background size, and I'm just going to say set this to cover so that it covers the entire area. Okay, so section 1 is taken care of. Let's do section 2. So we'll say section 2, open close. We're going to set the height of section 2. We're going to set it to 500 pixels. Then we want to set the width. we'll set this to 100% once again, and that's because we want it to take the full width of the screen. Then I'm going to set a background image, and I'll say URL. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to say /images, and I'm just going to pick image 2. We're going to close that off. Next, I'm going to cover this to the entire screen. So I'll say background size, and I'll say cover. Okay, so this is where our parallax comes into play, or this is the code that's going to generate this parallax. What we're going to say is background attachment, and we're going to say fixed. Then we're going to say background position. We're going to say center, because obviously I want it to be centralized. Then we're going to say background repeat. We don't want a repeat of the image, so we'll say background repeat, and we'll say no repeat. And lastly, what we want to do is set our background size, and we're going to cover the entire screen. Okay, so that should be done for there. So this is how we would test to see whether our work is actually displaying anything. We'll right click on index, we'll say copy path, and we're just going to paste this in your browser. So I'll do that quickly, and there you see it. So this is our first image, and that's our second image. As I scroll down, you can see it takes a nice shape there. Okay, so let's get started with our section 3. So let me just increase the size of the text here, because I'm sure you guys are having an issue seeing this. So what we can do is press Ctrl Shift P. We'll type in settings, show settings. We'll just delete that out. We go to text editor, go to font, and we'll just change this to 20, and that should change now. Okay, that's much better. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to copy section 1, because section 1 and section 3 is going to be the same. We'll paste that there, and we'll just change this image to image. Actually, let's not change it to an image, let's change it to a color. So we'll say background color, and let's say white. Okay, and don't forget to change this because our class is called section 3. Let's head over to our browser to see how that looks. Let's refresh our work, and if I scroll down, you see my white section there. Awesome. Let's head back to our editor, and what we want to do here is we don't want the height to be 100 VF. We want to actually set it to 500 pixels, and we can close that off. So section 2 and section 4 is going to be the same, so I can just copy section 2 and I'll just paste it there. Don't forget to change this to section 4. I'll change my image to my image is called subscribe. That's the one I want to use for my second parallax. And lastly, I want to have one more of this white section, so I'll copy and paste that there. I'll change this to section 5. I'll save my work. I'll head over back to my browser, and let's see how everything looks. So I'll refresh my work. As I scroll down, there you see our first parallax. I have my white section and my second parallax there, and finally I have my last white section. And there you see it, guys. It looks awesome. I really like this effect. Please drop a comment below showing me how you guys used it in your project, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.